Today, we are going to go and do a really deep dive into StayFi email marketing. And we're going to cover a lot of very specific strategies and tactics and emails you can start sending right away to generate more bookings and get more repeat guests. And I'm going to do a lot of today's session also in the StayFi product so that it will be very clear how to actually take some of these strategies and techniques and implement them in your StayFi account. As always, feel free to ask questions as we go along through the Zoom Q&A functionality. I will make sure to cover those questions either during the presentation if they're relevant or after, as we will have plenty of time. And then these sessions are always recorded and then shared pretty quickly on StayFi's YouTube channel. So if you want to rewatch this or watch any other session we've done before, they're all available on our YouTube channel. So today the agenda is pretty straightforward. One, just a quick overview of StayFi's email marketing tool if you're not using it already. Some things you need to do to make sure you can send emails. So that would be DNS setup, as well as letting you know how you can centralize all your data into one place. So we'll go over all the possible sources of guest data to also make sure you're bringing in as many possible emails to therefore get the most out of your marketing. And then we'll cover automations, newsletters, property autofill, which is a feature within StayFi, and then finally go over some overall tips. But a lot of these later steps or later sections I will be doing in the actual StayFi application so that you can see how to do them in your account. Very quickly, why should you use StayFi email marketing? You can think of StayFi email as the first email marketing tool built specifically for short-term rental and vacation rental operators. So unlike a generic tool like MailChimp, which has templates that can be used for all sorts of applications, StayFi is all about servicing and delivering the best functionality for our vertical and industry. So we have one-click campaigns, so specific emails designed to be sent in a few minutes with all the relevant types of information you'd want to have in there. You can send as many emails as you want to your list, so there are no restrictions towards the total number of emails you can send. We have PMS integrations, which really differentiate us from a MailChimp, let's say, that goes beyond just pulling in data. We will integrate with your property management software to pull in property availability, property photos, all things that make building emails even faster. And then finally, we do have a free tier if you're using StayFi. So up to 200 contacts, you can send them unlimited emails for free so that you can get started even before you have a massive list at no cost to you. And then finally, for the paid tiers, which we charge for based on the number of contacts you have, we basically priced it to be equivalent or cheaper than MailChimp for the same number of contacts. So it is a great replacement if you're using a tool like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, any of those tools today, because you can get all the same functionality plus very vacation rental specific functionality, all for the same or less. Now, when you set up your StayFi email marketing account, and this is true for any email tool that you're setting up, the first thing you need to do, which we guide you through, is set up your DNS. Basically, in order to do email marketing, you need to own a domain. So a .com, .co, whatever it is. Then, in order for Google, Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft Outlook, in order for any of those email systems to recognize your emails as real and not spam, you need to prove to them that you own this .com. For instance, if you didn't do this, like anyone could send an email from Airbnb.com or Chase.com, right? Basically, there's a process that you go through in StayFi and you go through if you use MailChimp or any other tool where you prove you own the domain you're sending from. And so basically what that involves is logging into GoDaddy or Squarespace or Namecheap or wherever you bought your domain and pasting in some code that basically proves that you own the domain. And this will take about 1 or 2 days to be completed. So definitely do this right away and make sure you have access to GoDaddy or whatever service you bought your domain with. And if you don't own a domain, you need to go out and buy one for the purpose of email marketing. If you have any questions or get stuck here, you can always email support@stayfi.com if you're stuck on this step, and we will help you make sure that you get your DNS configured, as that does come up a lot, as there's a lot of different places you can buy your domain, and we don't have instructions for every single one. So we have all the main ones here, but please reach out to us if you need help. And then finally, something that you want to make sure you're doing in StayFi before you are sending emails is making sure that you are getting as much guest data as possible into your database. And I'll go into the StayFi app to show you all 5 of these, but essentially there are 5 main areas that you can get data from within StayFi. One is obviously the data we collect through Wi-Fi marketing, so that's when guests log into the Wi-Fi. The second is data from your property management software. So here we show Hostfully, but we connect to pretty much all of them. And we will go through not just new reservations, but historical reservations to pull in guest data. Pre-arrival data. So this is also data you can collect through StayFi prior to the guest arrival through a form, and I'll show you how to set that up. Then, of course, you can upload CSVs. So if you have any other lists you want to upload that you've captured other places, or maybe you want to do homeowner campaigns and have a list of homeowners you want to upload, you can upload any CSVs that you want into StayFi and add that data as well. And then finally, you can collect data from your website through web forms, and I'll show you that too. So when you go to email marketing in StayFi, after you connect to your DNS, it's going to look like this. And you can see here are the potential list sources. So Wi-Fi will sync automatically. You want to make sure if this doesn't have a PMS, that you go ahead and you integrate whatever property management software you're using, and then you will be prompted to import data from that. Then we have pre-arrival guest information. This is data that we're collecting prior to the booker's arrival in order to use that data for email marketing. So very quickly, there is a pre-arrival section in StayFi where you can basically send a message in advance asking the guest or booker to check out your homepage, which you configure in StayFi as well. When you're sending this message, you can elect to collect guest data. So you turn this up here. And so what someone will see is they will get a message sent to them through your PMS. So if you're using Hostaway or Hostfully or Guesty or whatever it is, we will send a message through that system being like, hey, if you want to get more information and see your guidebook or homepage, you can do that here. And prior to getting access to that, the guest has to fill in this information. So the booker will fill this in, and then they have the option to share this with other people in their party. Now, obviously, you're going to collect less data here than you will with Wi-Fi, as it's optional for the booker to share this with other people. That's optional for the booker to fill this out, but it is a way to start collecting more data prior to the arrival. You can also do this at properties where you don't have the Wi-Fi tool set up. So let's say you manage 20 properties and 10 are condos and 10 are homes, and you have Wi-Fi in the homes. You can still use pre-arrival messaging for the condos to start collecting more data there. And you just want to make sure you actually import all your properties into StayFi, and that way you can do pre-arrival messaging for all of your properties. So you can see down below here are all the properties we have imported, these 4. We're sending this message 7 days in advance. In here, you can actually see the link that we are sending. This is the link that the guests will click through to then be prompted to provide their information and then access the homepage. You can share this link multiple times. So we do have this one send through Hostaway. You can also manually set these messages up in your PMS, and you can send them multiple times if you want to prompt them to get this information multiple times. And I'm not going to go through homepage setup. But if you guys know, in here you can create home pages, and on home pages, that's where you can have things like early check-in, guidebook, book again. And so obviously this is a great page to send in advance to give the booker more information and have them see upsells you want to promote here. So people want access to this, so it's a great way to gate that information using pre-arrival messaging to collect data there. And as I said before, you can do this for all properties, whether you have StayFi Wi-Fi or not. Even in properties where people are using the Wi-Fi, we see when they have this on, they will collect net more total emails than if they didn't, because sometimes someone will use this and use a different email than when they get there on the Wi-Fi. And maybe one of those emails is a better email to be doing marketing to, right? So, and maybe they'll opt in here, but then they didn't opt in when they did the Wi-Fi login, and therefore we collected the opt-in this time. So even if you have Wi-Fi, you will end up with net more emails to market to if you do pre-arrival and Wi-Fi. So the more opportunities we have to collect data, the better, is essentially the message here, right? So we want to give ourselves that chance as many times as we can. Then, of course, you can import data here. And the last one, which I apologize is a little more buried in here, is with web forms. When you go to subscribers, you'll see on the left here, we have sign up forms. You can create sign up forms in here, and they can either be a page on its own or an embedded form or a pop-up form. I love pop-up forms. You can also then choose which list we're gonna send the data to. This list already has one, so I can't make another one for it, but I'll go in here so you can see it. Basically, when you create a pop-up form, you're going to be able to style it. You can have like a give get, so then you can trigger an automation where someone does it, and this will pop up on your website. Then all you need to do is once you style your pop-up form, you hit view code, and then you want to paste this code into the header of your website. I know depending on what website you use, whether it's your property management software website or a Boostly website or a Realtek website, or any of these other website builders, some let you paste in code yourself. Some you have to have them paste in the code for you. So some people will let you configure the header code, some people won't, but almost every company I'm aware of will let you add this code to your website so that you can collect emails this way. And you can also embed forms as well. So pop-up forms as well as web forms are both great. I love the give get, get an X% off when you submit your email. And then when you are collecting that data, you can just create an automation in StayFi here. Basically, that will send the email once someone submits a form that way with that discount code. And that will just make sure that you are taking advantage of every single possible person that is visiting your website and collecting data from them. Let's say you're sending them in from Instagram posts or Facebook posts. Now, when they go to your website, higher chance that you'll capture their email. And then if you send them that code into their inbox, higher chance that they will then book again. Once you make sure that you are collecting data from all these different places, and I would definitely recommend using all four, Wi-Fi, PMS, pre-arrival, and web, because that will give you the most possible data, then we can talk about how to actually start sending emails. And in StayFi, there are really kind of two main types of emails. One is called automations, and the other are newsletters. Automations, sometimes also called drip campaigns, are any emails that are being triggered automatically when that contact or guest is meeting certain conditions. And then when it comes to newsletters, you can imagine that's just a one-off blast. So automations are more evergreen in their content because they're being sent all the time. Newsletters, of course, are probably more geared to something that is pertinent to today or something that is time sensitive because it's going to everybody right now. So content and automations needs to be evergreen. Newsletters, typically more time-based. The great thing about setting up these automations is that even if you forget or don't have time to send a newsletter this month, you are making sure everybody is receiving some number of emails. And that is so important because if you collect data and you don't send them any emails, the longer you wait, the more likely it is that they forget about you and then think your email is spam or they think they never subscribed, and it increases the chance that they unsubscribe or never open it. So you want to make sure that you're always sending some emails, and automations are the great way to guarantee that you're doing that, which is why I always recommend people start with automations. Now, when it comes to automations, we have three that are here in the main section that are kind of like our one-click automations. And then we also let you set up custom, more complicated automations in this automation section here. I'll first cover these three, and then I'll go and show you how to do the more custom automations in a second. So we have three to begin with. One is Wi-Fi welcome. That's sent pretty obviously whenever the guest logs into Wi-Fi. This is really important because this will be often the first marketing touch point with the non-booking guests. So you've been communicating with the booker through your PMS, et cetera, et cetera. The party arrives at the rental. Every guest logs into the Wi-Fi, so it's the first time the non-booking guests are probably seeing your brand. Probably they think you're an Airbnb, right? The concept of a vacation rental independent operator has never dawned on them before, right? So they see your brand on the Wi-Fi page, and then this is your first chance to send them an email. So it's really, really important because you may think you've sent all the information to the booker 100 times, but you've never communicated with the non-booking guest typically. So this is your first chance to communicate with them. Then we have post departure, which is pretty obvious. After a certain number of days, we'll send another email. And then stay anniversary is really nice. Our default timing is 10 months, but I'll show you how to edit that. Essentially, you send an email X months out, 10 months out, saying, hey, if you're looking to come back, now is a great time to rebook. Now, I've already set these up in this account, so I'll switch over here and I'll show you kind of what these flows look like. So let's do the post-departure email, for instance. When I go to set this up, it's gonna give me like a template option, so I'll show you that right here. So we only have one layout for this specific email. Then this is how the one-click builder works, right? Like we're gonna automatically insert your brand and we're gonna automatically place text here, which then you can edit. But we've kind of already pre-filled this with text that makes sense given the context. And you can see all of these have dynamic fields. So it says, thank you so much for choosing to stay at. We have property name. This is something to note as this will just put in the property name from your properties like that you have in StayFi. So if you imported properties from your PMS and they have kind of like nonsense names that are not marketing names, you can edit the names of the properties in StayFi to make sure that the names are sending like make sense to the guest. Because I know for some people, the code names they have as the property names are not always the marketing names, right? And then down below here, we have these featured properties, which is this section here, as well as book your next stay with us. This, you can create a code. So this is a great one. You can see here, they have a code welcome back 10. We don't create the code in your PMS. So whatever code that you end up putting here, you do need to go make sure that in your software that you add the code. And then this featured property section, which I'll show more of later, this is where you can really take advantage of that integration. And you can just view all properties here and you can decide which properties you want to feature in this email. And then we'll automatically fill in the photos and names for you, right? So this is where the integration with your software is going to make this process to build emails much, much faster. And then any of these sections, like if you don't want to have this property section, you can just unclick it and it will disappear from the email. Very similar, the book again, the stay anniversary email is again very similar. Now, what happens is once you turn on or complete this automation, they are going to appear here in your automation section. So we have like, this is the Wi-Fi welcome email, for instance. You can then go ahead and edit these further. And I'll just show you one example here. This is the Wi-Fi welcome email this user is using. You see the trigger here, subscriber joins Wi-Fi guest list, and then we have the first Wi-Fi welcome email. You can decide to add subsequent steps here. So you can make this a multi-step automation by just clicking this plus button. I have to turn it off, but you can basically click this plus button, add a wait 15 days here, and then you can go create another email. In here as well, you will have the ability to edit that email I showed you last time in the full, more customizable builder. So if you want to start with our templates, that's great. But then if you want to make more custom edits, you can do that within this builder here. So this is the more complete template builder. So the one we present you up here is like our very quick and easy builder where you have not as many options. Then when you actually go in to edit the template in here, you can make a lot more custom changes, right? So we want to make it very easy to create emails, but then we still want you to have the ability to do all the more custom edits that you would like to do. And you can add as many steps as you want. So if you know that you're not going to have a lot of time to send newsletters the next 6 months, create 6 emails here and send one every 30 days, right? So you can send as many as you want. You can also see here that these emails also have very high engagement rates. So at Wi-Fi check-in, we're almost hitting 50%. And the average for most newsletters is going to be 15, 20, maybe 25%. So because this is very much tied to an activity in the home, it's going to get higher engagement. Now I'll kind of just reference how to create custom automations from scratch, because we do get that question a lot. And I'll talk about creating a journey for subscribers on our website. So just to recap, I made this list here called website form. So I have a new list for website form, and then I'm going to go create a sign up form for this and make this pop up. And let's say it's get 5% off coupon. Now I actually want to create the automation that's going to send this 5% off coupon. And we don't have a pre-built one for this yet. So what I'm going to do is hit create an automation, and I can just do a custom journey, and I'll do subscriber joins new list. And then down below, I need to select the website form list. And then this will send this email to whenever somebody joins this list. And you can see you can make this extremely complicated and pick all sorts of things in here, but this is a pretty basic automation. Then what happens is I will get this subscriber joins website form list. Then I need to go ahead and create the actual email here. So add content. You'll see here the recent templates. So this, for instance, is our departure or stay anniversary email, I think. So I could even take this email that we built for you using our one-click builder, and then I can just go ahead and edit it to give that 5% off coupon, right? And then we have this AI writer here, so you can go and generate copy here. So, share a 5% off coupon to book my rentals again, and then it will write copy for you, and that's pretty simple, right? So if you're very lazy, you can have it do a lot of the writing for you too. So you can see here, then I preview continue. It will give me the mobile version, so I can check that too. I can send a test, and then it will take me back to the journey. So we have subscriber joins website form list. We'll send this email, and then I can add more steps. I can add and send another email in like 48 hours being like, oh, your coupon is still not used or whatever it is, right? So you have a ton of optionality here when it comes to building these custom automations. If you want to have access to these very pretty emails in your branding, complete these first, because once I complete my stay anniversary email, it's going to appear here, and then I can reuse it for other content. So this was the stay anniversary email, like I mentioned before, that was built with our one-click builder, and now it's available to reuse and edit. Yes, so the automation's power is really unlimited, and you can do it by segments, you can do it by list, you can have multi-step, right? So, like the key takeaway is start here, do these simple ones, then go into the automation builder and you can make them multi-step, or you can create new automations. It's totally up to you. And there is a rate and review coming soon. So I know we have a rate and review feature with texting. We will have one soon, an automation to help you collect more 5-star reviews, primarily on Google, which is the main use case for this one. So we'll screen and then push them. Here you can see some different customer examples of what people are doing in their automations. So here on the right, we see the post-departure case. Again, 8% click-through rate, which is crazy. And then book your next stay direct and save. And they provide a code here, which works great. And then on the right here, you can see 72% open rate, still pushing that code, etc. So these have very high engagement. Definitely would start with these three. Now I'll talk about newsletter campaigns, and we have three main types. The one I'm going to talk most about right now is upcoming availability, because that has the most interesting features that you can leverage. So when it comes to upcoming availability, I'll click in here. The purpose of this email that you can send as a newsletter is we want to align your available inventory against your audience, right? So we don't want you to be advertising properties and dates in your emails that are not actually bookable. Especially if you're on the smaller side, it can be very frustrating for guests. Let's say you send an email and you're featuring your nicest home, and then they click on that and there's no way to book it for the next 9 months, right? Because it's completely booked. So what we want to do is make sure that we feature in emails homes that we can actually book when we click through the email. And I see kind of two main use cases for this. Number one is last minute. So here are the four homes available this weekend that you can book right now for a discount or for less or whatever value you want to provide. The other is advertising inventory that's very far out, especially if it's very high demand. New Year's is coming up, so maybe you want to be these are our last homes for New Year's, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, or you can even do, hey, for July 4th, we're already 80% booked. So you better book these now if you want to come back, right? So you can think about advertising inventory that's far out, high demand, or instead of settling for an Airbnb booking, we're going to drive a direct booking, or for last minute can be very, very, very valuable and making sure you're not passing a weekend with any unsold inventory, let's say. So the way that it works is we first pick how many homes we want to feature in this little widget here. And then we hit import from PMS. You can see before we use search by property, now I'm going to search by availability. And I'm going to pick, let's say we have some very last minute inventory this weekend that I want to make sure we sell. So I'm going to pick this coming weekend here, 10/17 to let's say 10/19. Minimum number of nights is 2. Search properties. Then this will return from my software all of the availability that meets this criteria. And not only that, it will also tell us which nights. So if you had like a longer window of minimum 2 nights, it will show which one's here, as well as the price per night. Then since I want to do 4, I'm going to pick these 4. And then this will automatically insert these homes into the email with the first photo from your software. So if you don't like the photo we chose, you can then go over here. So we have property 1, 2, 3, 4. I can then make any edits. And we also are going to pull in your URL to view and book this property. Again, this may not be available from every PMS, so I would make sure that this is accurate and is the correct one. So I would just check these. Every software is different about like which data and which links they let us pull and what they have available in their API and which don't. So just confirm that the URLs down here are the correct one for each property. And then of course you can go and edit these photos if you want to change them, as well as edit. This, for instance, didn't come with a description, so you can add a description here. So sometimes the PMS has a description, sometimes they don't, right? So it just depends. But then that's in your email. So you can go ahead and send this right away. You can include a book to get direct promo. You can say last minute availabilities, whatever you want, right? So that is just a great way to include this inventory. We also include this widget in our other newsletters. So if I wanted to send our regular newsletter template, we always have this featured property option, and then we have the ability to add activities and events, right, in this one. So the newsletter one is more robust, more options. And then if you don't want to include one of these sections, you just unclick it and then you're good to go. So we make it very easy to send these types of newsletters as well. I will show you some examples here because I think a lot of times people don't know what to send. And then I'll show you some from a real StayFi account as well. So again, general updates, promotions, top bookable properties, all very useful, especially around like events in your area can be really nice. Promo campaigns. So we know, right, that Airbnb is moving to a completely host or property manager side fee. So you have room to play with when it comes to if you are marking up your Airbnb properties by 18 or whatever percent it's going to be to make it so the revenue equals, you have a big delta to play with when it comes to pricing. So you can keep your direct prices a little closer to your Airbnb prices, and then you can leverage promo codes, right, to drive more traffic if that's a strategy you want to take. Or you can even drive, here's a great example here. So book 3, get 4th night free. So you don't only need to think in terms of percentage discounts, you can think of length of stay discounts too, which I think is fantastic. And here on the left, we have more of a last minute availability email here. All of these had great open rates and they all got bookings from sending these emails, I know for a fact. Here again is property over autofill overview, which I showed you IRL. And now we'll move over to email marketing tips in general. So I will actually show you some top performing campaigns from one of our customers that lets us show things in their account, just so you can get an idea of like what real people are sending. So here, let me show you this email. I like this because it is a new property announcement. These always perform very well. So you can see here we have a new cabin, and then we have a code to book direct there and save. And then below that, we used that property autofill. So we didn't use the availability window. We just pulled in 4 properties using that to build this email faster. And then below here, we have experiences, which are great. And these lead right to those experiences in this area. And then down below, we have a do you own a rental property? So this is a great thing as well. If you think your audience has the potential to be crossover with owners, or if you have a real estate business as well, and you can advertise that here, buy a property in our area and we can manage it as well. So you can definitely wrap in your other services you offer into one of these emails. So I love a new property announcement. I think that is fantastic. Now I'll show you the email they sent prior to that so you get an idea of what people are sending in real life. There's again another more event oriented. So we have something more oriented around Halloween, which I think this was sent in September. So it's great timing for this. So you can see here are all the great Halloween activities happening in Flagstaff, which is where this operator is primarily based. And then we have a book direct and save 20% thing here. And I don't even think they need a promo code. That's kind of like standard discount. Again, they created these very cool images. I think they used ChatGPT to create these, like a spookified image for each one of their properties, which is pretty awesome. And then again, experiences down here. And then again, do you own a rental property or looking to purchase? We're going to plug that as well. So all of that again is in each email. And you can see here, they are consistently sending one newsletter a month. And I know that their share of direct bookings is north of 35% at this point. And it's done, obviously, email is one component to that overall strategy to make that happen. You can see they're very consistent in sending newsletters, which is also super important. It looks like they even send an upcoming availability and a newsletter campaign in September. So I actually haven't taken a look at this one. So you can see how they are positioning properties for upcoming availability. Yeah, so spontaneous fall, we have a promo code LEAF10. And then down below, again, we have featured listings. Again, they didn't look like they didn't use the availability. They just must know that these are generally available. And then when I go to the website, of course, I can go look and find the properties and then use that promo code. This is a great website too, so nice to see that. Some other things to keep in mind when building your campaigns. I think Next Arrow, they know their audience is kind of a luxury to luxury plus traveler. Typically, since they're in Flagstaff, they get a lot of drive to traffic from, Phoenix and other areas in Southern California. So they understand their guests, they understand what they're looking for, and they're pushing the activities as well as homes and atmosphere that make sense for them. And then, so they really kind of leverage what they know about their brand and their customers to make compelling email content. I think it's also important to keep in mind, like, what is going to differentiate you from other rentals and why should someone book direct? So it doesn't only need to be about price. We see other customers do great promotions around early check-in, late checkout, include tickets to golf or other activities. I know an operator in Branson that includes tickets to like the most popular event in Branson if people want to use that. And that way they don't need to only rely on price to be what is going to drive someone to book direct over booking on an OTA. Well, that's also important, obviously. I think some things to think about in when telling a story in your emails or how you position your emails. I think you need to go back to what type of brand are you building? And I see kind of two big kind of groups of people in this space. One is you are a more personally branded operator, typically that has fewer homes, or not always, but a brand where you really put yourself, your family, who's ever operating your homes first. So you make a very human image. And that way you can also send plain text emails, which we'll talk about in a second. The other is you're more of a corporate, more of a standardized, larger property management organization that's speaking from like a brand voice. That's less of a human voice, right? So down here, warm and personal greetings work great. Incorporate things like those merge fields I talked about. So you can put in first name, you can put in property name. Anything to make the email look more personalized is going to be great. We saw in those emails from Next Arrow, they were using very vivid imagery to evoke Halloween, to evoke fall. They went on ChatGPT and had some, they basically probably pasted in images of their home and were like, make a Halloween version of this, and it spit out some very cool images as well. And then they talked a lot about new properties, amenities, and then activities in their area, which is great. I would think about what are your slower times of year. So I know for like a lot of ski destinations, right? They have mountain biking, they have other things that are going to get people to come there outside of the highest season, which is skiing. So think about how to leverage activities and things in your slower times of year to get people to click through and want to come back through your emails. And then also guest testimonials work great as well. We didn't see those in any of those emails, but I know he has them on the website, right? So like these testimonials, these reviews are great to then also incorporate into your emails. And I love this review aggregator. You can see down below here. Here are some more examples, just so that you guys can see what's being sent out. I think the one on the left I love because it's not the most stylistically stunning email. Like, let's be honest, this was not designed by a designer. It's very like blunt, to the point, definitely a little amateur, but I think that's part of the charm and the feeling because that's authentic to who they are. So if you're not a designer, it doesn't really matter, right? You can put together a compelling email. You can go to Canva, you can create an image like this. And this is actually great because they sent this email out far in advance. So like book a winter stay now to stay here far in advance because I want to get these bookings direct in advance, and then you leverage OTAs to get more, fill in those last minute nights and days, right? So let's try to get as many direct bookings as we can far in advance. And so we're going to send an email like this with a promo code. In the middle here, we have an example of, okay, we are a more concierge oriented operator. And so we have our own custom adventure vans that we can like rent to or drive you around in. So we're going to differentiate ourselves based on our service offerings. So if you offer any services that are unique to you and your destination in terms of transportation, in terms of equipment, in terms of boat rentals, kayak rentals, whatever it is, you can use emails to feature what makes you different than a generic Airbnb operator. And then on the right here, we have Arrive by Seaplane, which is a pretty sick amenity that definitely could be on someone's bucket list here. So we're letting guests know that, hey, we have the hookup. I don't think they actually own this plane, but they have the hookup to basically maybe get you a discounted rate or help you book seaplane arrival, which is definitely going to be a way to arrive on your vacation that's going to turn heads and be very Instagrammable. Now I'll kind of just show one other tip, which I definitely recommend using, especially if you're on the smaller side, and that's sending a plain text email. So if you go to our regular template builder, and I'll just call this plain text. In here, you can see these are all the potential ones that you can start with. Right, so you can pick any of these to start with and edit. I'm going to pick transactional, or because I know we have some very plain text emails in here, as well as welcome. So I can use this one too. Basically, I want to send an email that is just text, and you can delete these unnecessary sections here. And then you want to write this from the first person. So you say, hi, And then if you go to insert here, personalization, this is where you can insert like first name, right? Hi, first name. This is so and so, and I manage the, you can then insert the property name. And so grateful you to stay for us. And you write this email as a plain text. You don't even include the logo here. Basically, you want to write this email in a way that appears that like you are writing to them one to one. And the reason I recommend writing emails like this, saying like, hey, if you ever need to book this again, just email me back, things like that. And you send it from one of your actual emails, whether it's your email or sales email or whatever it happens to be. These, if you use Gmail, you're going to be familiar with most Gmail accounts have a primary inbox and a promotions inbox. Well, all of these campaign emails are fantastic. The reality is, when you send an email with photos, it's just much more likely to go into that promotions inbox, which generally just have lower open rates than the primary inbox. So I would definitely recommend experimenting with some plain text emails written from the first person as if you just wrote it spontaneously to them, as those may yield much higher open rates and then click-through rates or response rates if you're just looking for a reply, because it's more likely the person will see it when it goes to their primary inbox, mainly on desktop. So I would not shy away from sending plain text emails, especially if you don't have a ton of branding yet for your business. It's just a great way to start sending simple emails that really can get the job done. Now I will turn over to questions. Someone asked about a template Excel file for external imports, and the answer is yes. So when I go here to import a list, if you go down here to upload a file, oops, I thought they had a sample file here. I'm sorry. Maybe down here they'll let me show me. Yeah, so here they're going to have all the details you need to have. So if you go to the help field and go down here, they'll show you the right way to import a file. I don't know if they'll have sorry, I'm not sure if they have a sample file, but it's pretty, basically it's going to be, you're going to have like a match process. So it's going to be like email, first name, last name, and then any other columns you want to import, you can do that as well. And here they show you about dates as well, how to do those, right? So as long as you have name, first name, last name, email, and then any other columns you want to import in the file, you'll upload that and then you kind of match which column means what. And then you can make like new columns if you want to have other information in there for whatever you're uploading. Like maybe this is property managers, you can make a column for like which home they own. And then that can be a field you send as a personalized field, being like, hey, thanks for, letting us manage X property, right? Someone asked on the Wi-Fi login, is there a way to make phone number optional instead of mandatory? Right now there's not. So the guest does need to enter in phone number. They do not have to opt into text marketing. If you do not want the phone number field to appear, like basically you have to stop collecting phone numbers under text marketing, I definitely recommend collecting phone numbers and doing text marketing if you can. We don't see that big of a difference in like people who get the form and submit it. So there isn't a big drop off there. So I definitely recommend if you think you might want to do text marketing, I would encourage you to collect phone numbers as well. Someone asked if they can upload phone numbers for guests basically after the fact. And the answer is sadly no. We only support text marketing from numbers that we collect through StayFi. We don't really import numbers. And that really has to do with um, protecting StayFi and our users. As I would say, the number one hacking target we have is people create StayFi accounts to try to send spam text messaging. And so we actually see sometimes people will like create a StayFi account and like use a fake credit card and like try to buy credits, and then they want to upload a list. So text marketing just has a big target on its back in terms of spam. I'm sure you get spam texts. I get spam texts all the time. And despite all of the mobile operators trying to crack down on spam text, it's like obviously not working that well. So we just want to protect you from, because someone might want to try to get into your account and send spam text. And then of course we want to protect our ability to send marketing text messages. And that's why we're just like so strict when it comes to what numbers can be used in the text marketing tool, and that we need to collect it and make sure we got opt-in through our system. Just because when you allow people to import phone numbers from third parties, you're just opening like a Pandora's box in terms of fraud and spam, and we just don't want to allow that. So for now, we're super strict about how we do phone text marketing. And I just wanted to give you kind of some of the rationale behind that, because I think people ask us and they're like, why wouldn't you just let me upload numbers? It's like, just because then anyone can upload numbers, and then it just creates a huge target on us for being someplace where people are going to try to commit fraud or spam people. Someone asked how we change property names within StayFi. That's a great question. Because when you import from your PMS, obviously it's going to come with that name. If you go to the property section here, then you can rename them. That link between this property and the property in your PMS will remain there. We're just going to have now this name is going to be different than the one in our PMS. We also, if you want us to like have all the URLs on hand to like insert them into emails for each property, and this field was not filled in when you connected to your PMS, because not every PMS allows us to pull this. Like we would love to if we could, but basically some don't have direct booking website listing URLs as an endpoint that we can use. You can go into each property and basically add the URL to book this property, and then that will make sure that anywhere in StayFi where we can leverage this URL, we will on your behalf. Someone asked about Viator and how to integrate with Viator. That is a great question. So the way it works is you will go to to edit homepage template, and you first want to make sure that you turn on Viator here and hit update. This is going to send you an email with instructions for how to sign up for Viator's affiliate program, and also instructions for how to basically create widgets that you can then drop into your home pages to allow people to book tours and activities here. Of course, once you're in Viator's affiliate program, and I apologize, I don't have one ready to log into right now, you can also use it to create links anywhere else. So you have this kind of widget you can build. But then, of course, you can use their affiliate program and put links on your website. You can put links in emails. You can use their affiliate links anywhere you want. And then you will get an 8% commission if anyone clicks one of your links and books any tour within 30 days. So it is a great program to use, and I would recommend using it as many places as you can. Let me see if in our StayFi, I'm sure we have some information about it in our support docs. So let me just pull this up, because I'm sure there'll be screenshots here. But yes, you update here, drop the links in here. Yes, I'm sorry, I don't have the Viator. Yes, here's the details. So basically, if you also go into our HubSpot to this part here, and I will just paste this in here. I put the link in here. So you click here to create an account, you sign up as an affiliate, you enter this information. 99% of the people, 99% of our users get approved. We have had a few rare cases where people don't get approved, and in that case, just email us and we can like escalate to Viator support since we have contacts there. Then in here, you can create a widget, pick your destination, it will create this widget, and then you will have the ability to get this code from the widget, which then you paste into the homepage. But over here in the Viator program, you can see here there's affiliate links, banners, Viator selector. So you can get links and link out to this Viator tours and activities anywhere you want. Someone asked if there's also been a webinar and text message campaigns. The answer is most definitely. So if you just Google YouTube StayFi, and I'll answer your question here with the link as well. Down here, you will find in playlists, you will find all of our marketing mastery series. And then on the right here, you can see text marketing mastery is this one right here. And then we have, here's another text marketing one, more recent one. So that one probably has the most up-to-date information. We also have one that's completely on generating more revenue with both the host code and Viator. We have one on StayFi Express. So you can see here we have all sorts of different sessions that you can watch on our YouTube channel. So we're coming with 10 minutes left, and that looks like those are all the questions we had. And I hope people found this helpful. Oh, Craig has one more question, so I will just hold off for this. I know you're probably typing very fast. So, great question. Basically, people are using iPhone data and don't log into the Wi-Fi. What are techniques to improve getting email and text info? Yes, so basically you need to, like, how can you increase Wi-Fi utilization, which is a great question. Number one, I would definitely consider not having a password on your wireless network. So you have the option under here, whenever you name your guest network, that you have a password or not. This has a password, but we can get rid of the password. If we get rid of the password, guests will join this network, and then they will get to the splash page. I also would not assume that it's only because people are using Wi-Fi data. If you're using the Unified access points, most people, when they set up their Unified access points to broadcast this network, they've left their original homeowner network running, which means now there's two Wi-Fi networks running. There's the one the owners or yourself had set up from your ISP, your like Spectrum or Comcast router, and now we have this new StayFi network. Many people have the issue of they didn't know change all the instructions, or there are still old instructions sitting in the property that are giving guests the old network name and password, which means that less guests are going to join this network. They're going to join the previous existing network. And that will be true if you're using Unify. If you use StayFi Express, we change your existing network to be the one with the splash page. That would be a different case. But for most people with Unify, you really want to make sure that you're not giving the old info anywhere, as people will still use that old network. So you want to make sure the only instructions are for the new network. And then I would think about how to market these instructions in multiple places. So fridge magnet, like a Wi-Fi sign on the wall, which says the network name to join, QR codes for phones to join the network and get the splash page right. So you basically, and make sure you have it in your pre-arrival and arrival instructions are sitting in your PMS. So just think about how many places would it make sense to advertise the name of the network so that people know to join it, get rid of a password, and just really, really make sure that they're not joining the old network, which could still be running in the home. Um, Someone asked if we can remove the old network info from their options to sign in. The only way to remove the old network is to stop broadcasting it. So you can, if you want to, let's say you have a Spectrum router, you can go into your Spectrum account or go into your AT&T account and you can turn off broadcasting from your original router. That will also will help Wi-Fi speeds potentially because there's less conflicting potential networks in the property. Then that's why we also have this admin network here. And you can also create a 2.4 gigahertz only admin, because then you can move things like TVs, thermostats, door locks, whatever it is. You can move them to these admin networks with a normal password. And that way you don't need to have your original network broadcasting anymore. And that, of course, will make it less likely anyone will attempt to join it, right? But definitely just want to make sure you don't give people old instructions. Yeah, and just don't assume that it's data that they're using cell phone data. They could be using the old network, and that's definitely the number one reason. People are not getting as many guests as they expected. Then someone asked if we have a service that can help set up a marketing program. We do have partners for that. So if you go down to partner promotions, we have a ton of different partners in different spaces. Um, so marketing services, some of these are more like Boostly, Blue Tent, more website. Build Up is like a generic marketing service, including emails. Um, Guest Hook is an email service. Hudson is website. So we have some PMSs here and some guidebooks and some other services down here as well. So we definitely have partners here that you can leverage. And then in our email marketing tool itself, we do have a partner called Switchback, and they can also help with email marketing. So you can inquire with Switchback for any of these services here as well. But the way the email marketing tool is built is really meant that most people can definitely at least do the basics, use these basic automations, set them up with very easy to use templates. And then, of course, you can hire Switchback or you can hire one of our other partners if you want somebody to manage your emails on an ongoing basis. So that's definitely a possibility. And some of them also do websites and branding and other things too, which of course can be really valuable if you're looking for more marketing services outside of just like the tactical sending of emails. Someone like a Build Up Bookings can help with your search engine optimization, search marketing, websites, like all the other pieces of creating a great brand for your rental properties. Those are all fantastic questions. So thank you everybody for attending. If you need any help with anything with StayFi, please do not hesitate to go to support@stayfi.com and send them an email. Someone just asked about reviews. I'll talk about reviews. So we're going to have a customer journey for reviews very soon. But we do right now have one in text marketing. So in text marketing, we have rate and review campaigns. And so we'll be adding this to email in relatively soon. The rate and review campaign in email is triggered a certain number of days after they connect to Wi-Fi. And then you ask them to rate you out of 5 stars. And then you pick up minimum stars, which should be 5. And so basically, if they rate you 5 stars, you can then push them to review you on like a public review site. So not an OTA, but like a site where everybody can leave you a review. Definitely number one is Google, because Google will help your search engine performance and is what people will see when they Google the name of your business. So I definitely recommend Google, and we give you instructions for how to get the Google review URL once you set up a Google business page. But then the key here is that if they rate you less than 5 stars, they can leave feedback here. And then under the ratings and review section, you can see all the guests, what they rated you, and if they rated you less than 5 stars, what the review was. Some people actually like to send this before checkout, so maybe 2 days after the guest gets there, because then you can actually collect negative feedback prior to checkout, and then you can prevent having the guests leave negative feedback on an OTA. But it's up to you. You can do this 2 days, 5 days, whatever you like. And the key thing here is you can really push more 5-star Google reviews. Like I'll just give you an example of a StayFi customer. I look up Stay Duvet. They've been using this tool for a while. They have over 1,600 5-star reviews on Google. And we definitely helped them. I think they were like at 4 point something before. And we've definitely helped them resuscitate this review. So whenever somebody Googles Stay Duvet, which their brand is pretty big, they're going to see all those positive 5-star reviews, and we're helping drive those to them. So it definitely can really maximize that. And that will be coming to email marketing as well. But text is here, and text works really, really well. So that was a great question. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. And this will be recorded and posted on our YouTube, and you can find this as well as all the other marketing mastery sessions there. And they can cover text, upselling, email, every single possible topic you can imagine that you can do with StayFi. We have a video on, and we have lots of examples and how to do it in the product, which is definitely the most important thing. So thanks again, and have a great rest of your week.